Hello and welcome back to my channel, and thanks for rejoining me with my Stormbringer first edition solo campaign. We had left the situation with our protagonist fully developed. We have now reached the stage where we want to create a group of companions. All great protagonists need sufficiently qualified companions to be part of his or her band. So we do have some guidelines now to do that. So as I've said, we have our protagonist, Altharan Solvin. He is a sailor of Shazar. We do have his character sheet with all his interesting attributes and statistics. I'm going to flesh that out in more detail and fill out all the individual skills. We did have to do a bit of augmentation of that individual because I felt my character creation process for the protagonist was a bit wanting, and so to give us a bit of heroic embellishment, but tinged with a risk of having a shadow or some form of doom coming over the protagonist, I had an additional video session, which with hindsight I actually quite enjoyed, and I think maybe that actually was a bit of a boon in the end. It actually created almost a way for me to write the overall creation process. Create nice little backstories for maybe some of the attributes increasing, but I almost have it as a form of mini game that I certainly enjoyed the process, and hopefully it didn't seem like it was just an unfair, arbitrary. I'm not happy with strength, for example. Let's bump it up by 4. There was a bit of a backstory behind that, and also an increase in the risk that the character might have some terrible fate layered upon them. So we've done that now. Let's get on with the individuals that are going to be forming around. So we have, as I said, our protagonist, Altharan Solvin, the sailor of Shazar. Now let us seek out his worthy companions and place them together in the Lomirian port of Trepazaz. And again, that was something that we determined at the end of the last episode. I threw the dice, basically just relied on the fates of where we would land in the Young Kingdoms. We came down with the Lomirian port of Trepazaz, which sounds quite interesting. Lomir is quite an intriguing place. It's a decadent and declining empire. There's bound to be a lot of intrigue and interest, and with nimble-footed characters that we have, we'll be able to basically we probably weave and duck and whatever around these more dozy Lomirians. Let us see what happens. So let's hand it over to Altharian, Chronicler of the Balance, who is going to introduce this session. He says, "In the Young Kingdoms, no hero walks alone. Fate draws allies together, some for loyalty, some for gain, and some for reasons that even they do not fully understand. Today we meet those who will follow our protagonist, each carrying a past, a purpose, and a shadow." Right, so we're going to flesh out some quite detailed companions. They're not going to be at the same level as the protagonist, obviously, but I'm still going to layer on quite a bit of interesting backstory. I am going to be using what I call my character companion origin templates, and these are pre-designed like mini templates which cover things like their origin, their nationality, their profession, their standout traits, and just some notes just generally about what these individuals are like, so that we have basically pre-cooked individuals that we can embellish and layer on other aspects as we go through this process. So I have a sheet on how I'm going to capture this information, and for the numbers of companions, so I have this sheet here for Companion 1, Companion 2, and Companion 3. And these are all the aspects that I'm going to capture. First of all, we're going to determine the number of companions to accompany our protagonist. This will be from 2 to 3, but for our first group, we will have 3. So I've decided, well, I spent a lot of my other campaigns, my parties, always feeling that they needed more individuals. So I think my AD&D group started with 3, and they said, well, we could really do with 4, and then they said, oh, we could really do with 5. So I'm going to short circuit maybe that process a bit and just say, well, let's start with 3 and not always feel that we need to be bumping up to 3. We're going to have that first. Also, we're going to determine their sex with 50% male, 50% female, and at least one of each sex will be a companion. So it's going to be a 2-2-1 split on the companions. And then once we've done that, we're going to approach the process by dealing with each individual companion in turn, and etc. So we'll come back to this worksheet or this checklist when we have determined the sex of the companion. That is the first thing to do. So we know we have 3. So on the sex, we are going to say 0-1 to 50 is male, and 51 to 100 is female. So let's find out what we have here. So 85, our first one is female. So I'll just put female up here. Second one is male, most definitely male, 0-1, and third one, it is female. So we have 2 female companions and 1 male. Okay, so let's get back to our checklist and see what is next on the stocks. Now approach the process by dealing with each individual companion in turn. First determine the name of the companion and modify this based on nationality if felt necessary. So I do have a list of names. Yep, here it is. And I'm just going to generate that randomly. So we're going to go for this individual first. Let's find out what her name is. So we'll get our D20. We've got 10, which is Caliph. Caliph. And surname 20, Jorvith. Caliph Jorvith. That might be a bit of a mouthful. And it does say in our notes, if we just look at it, in fact here it says the surname can be more dramatic or embellished as desired. And also it does say that we can modify this name based on the nationality if felt necessary. So say if we get a Pantangian or whatever, we might really want to maybe jazz it up a wee bit. But let's run with that first. We've got Caliph Jorvith. That is her name. So what do we do next? We work out the companion's origin. Now, what I've done is I have created 16 individual profiles. I'm calling them templates. And they range from a Shmirian adventurer, Melnibinian outcast, Vilmirian noble, a Purple Town sailor, a Pantangian cultist, a barbarian of the Weeping Waste, a Tarkish raider, an Elmorian trader. We've got a Picarid tribesman, and we've got a Filcarian duelist, an Argimilia assassin, a Lomirian corsair, a Darajor beast hunter, a Shazarian mercenary, a Jarkorian gentleman, and a Lomirian priest. My goodness, what a list. Now, the key thing about these templates is that it determines basically the origin. We get a kind of feel for that character right off the bat. And then we also have class is determined by that. So we know we have a warrior or a priest or a sailor. Also, I have some pre-cooked traits and demeanor that I can use. based around the type of character we're talking about. So very much a kind of archetype, trope type individual that we're going to be kicking off with. And then some quite interesting, maybe narrative comments about their past, or just the way they view the Young Kingdoms, or maybe their interactions with the other companions, that type of thing. So that I thought would be quite a nice little conceit to bring into this process. As I said, we're going to roll for each of the companions' origins. This will determine their class, profession, trait, and provide some relevant background that can shape their personality and role-playing style. We also immediately understand their backstory, culture, and a flavour who they are. So we could have decadent nobility and mystics, so that's our Melnibonean and Lormirians, pious and civilized realms like Vilmir, savage outsiders and raiders like the Weeping Waste and Picarid, tragic or cursed origins, i.e. Pantang. I'm saying also in subsequent companion generation cycles, it's probably going to be easy for me to construct a profile similar to these templates by applying a random selection, using some personality traits that I already have in my tables for my protagonist, and embellishing with narrative comments pertinent to the cultural background. However, I've already got almost like predetermined individuals now that are just basically waiting to be further embellished. So they have a core persona that I can kind of add on to, which is quite nice, that I already have in my head, on my mind's eye, what some of these individuals are going to be like. So that being said, what do we do next, Brian? Well, we are going to determine what each of these companions are in terms of template. So the way we're going to do that is I am going to have employ a D8, and on a 1 to 3 it's going to be 1 to 8, and on a 4 to 6 it is going to be 9 to 16. So we're going to add 8 on if we get a 4 to 6. So we get a 4. So we have template 4 as being our first one, and template 4 is another sailor, Purple Towns sailor. So we have Purple Towns, and a sailor. And pray tell, what is a Purple Town sailor all about? Let's find out. Pragmatic, opportunistic. So we'll put that down. Pragmatic, opportunistic. And narrative comments, I have got nose port, taverns, and trade routes. Street smart, but not always loyal. A lovable rogue, yes. So a bit of kind of Han Solo we've got here. Imagine that, a female Han Solo. So nose ports, streetwise, lovable rogue. Everyone likes a lovable rogue, so we've got one in our party. Nice one. So that is our little template, and you can see how these things can build up. Already we've got a bit of a picture in our head of what Caliph is like. Yeah, we're already rooting for her, I'm sure. Okay, the next thing we do is just the hard number crunching, and what I do have as backup is this minor character description form, and this is where I'm going to jot down all the hard stats for the character. So we're going to have Caliph first. I'll just have her. I'm not going to repeat all the individual stuff because this is my worksheet for capturing some of the detail over and above. But what we're going to do is we're going to determine their attributes using 4d6 and discarding the lower value, and then apply the relevant professional modifiers. And if there's any national modifiers, we will do that too. So let us progress with Caliph. So we will gather our d6. We will roll, and a sailor will get. We'll notice that a sailor will get +1 to Dex and +1 to Intelligence. So we will add those as we go through, so I don't have to keep on rubbing things out. So let's do a strength. So strength starts at that is 12 for strength. Reasonable start, nothing spectacular. Yes, Constitution is just about 17 for Constitution. Very good. Size. She is not going to be the tallest sailor in the Purple Towns, but that's fine. Intelligence. Intelligence is good. That's 8. That's what's that? 13. Yeah, 13 for intelligence. Not bad. Power. Wow, she is good too there. 15 for power. Bit of a presence maybe. Already the gods are maybe looking down around. Dexterity, yes. Now we are talking heroic. We've got more. Maybe we should have this as our protagonist. She seems to. And charisma. Yeah, she's okay. I think that's what's that. 9, 11. Yeah. Charismatic, reasonably charismatic. Did we? I don't think I added in my stuff, did I? We're going to have +1 dexterity. So dexterity goes up to 18. Nice one. And +1 intelligence. So intelligence goes up to 14. So very, very decent character there. Is there any stuff that we need to know for? And I'm not gonna go into a lot of detail with things like calculating hit points and whatever. And I'm just gonna do all the headline stuff, and then I'm gonna go away and fill out all this stuff. I want to try to get through all these characters, and I want to show you the personal bits that add the layerings of interesting character development. So Purple Towns is plus 1d4 strength and constitution plus 1d6. So I would say that we've already maxed out on the constitution. I'm not going to put it up. Plus 1d4, we've already had a bit of a buff because we've got 4d6. It is saying plus 1d4. Maybe I could do this process, and if I feel it's just a bit too much that we're increasing these characteristics, and say just put it down to the gods, and say 1 to 3 we will do the increase, but otherwise, sorry, 4 to 6 we will do the increase, but otherwise we won't. So yeah, the gods say yes, carry on, Brian. You know, what are you talking about? You've got to put 1d4 added on. So we add on 1, so strength goes up to 13. Okay, cool. That is that done. We now have that character, the statistics generated. So back to my sheet. For skills, note their professional allowance and then roll 1d6 plus 2. So this character will accrue all their sailor skills, which I think I highlighted last time when we were doing our protagonist. But in addition, we get 1d6 plus 2 other skills. So we get the maximum. This is going to be a good character. 8 skills additional. The frame, I think, the frame of Purple Towns is, what is it? They tend to be burly and have medium and heavy body frames. So she is going to be quite well built. Yeah, and she's had plus strength. Her constitution maybe has already been increased already. That's why she's got such a high one. So we update the statistics to the mini character sheet and the supporting companion summaries. So as I said, I will get all these individual things updated so that we have little flashcards basically of each individual, and anything that's missing off I can put onto separate sheets. Okay, what do we do next? Well, I have a section after this called Bond with the Protagonist. So we now need to establish the reason for their association with our hero. What bond or hold does he have over them? Okay, so this is where it gets a bit more interesting, and we can kind of almost distill down the reason why this character has basically associated themselves with our character. Does our character have a hold over them or not? And I have, I think it's a D8 roll. So let's find out what the hold is for our character. So 5 on our bond table is shared enemy. A common foe has drawn you together. Cooperation is motivated by vengeance, not friendship. Trust may fray if revenge is delayed. Okay, so we have 5 for here, and that is a shared enemy. So what I can do with these is I can flesh them out a wee bit, maybe put some names on, a bit of a backstory, but we have an overall feel for what the story is. They do have a common foe that has brought them together. They're motivated by vengeance, not friendship. However, friendship might grow. Again, trust may fray if revenge is delayed. Maybe she's a bit impatient. So let's get on with it. We now got to hunt this person down. Right, so that is the first thing that we can determine. The second is, yes, the inevitable Murkochian. In Murkochian style, we introduce a shadow of doom. This is the flaw, curse, or looming fate that follows each companion. The hidden weight that may one day threaten their bond with the hero or draw the whole company into peril. Whoa. Yes, we get the thunder outside, the lightning flashing, that type of stuff. So we have, I think it's a what is it, a D8? Yeah, it's a D8 that we roll on my little table. Let us find out what the shadow of doom is for Caliph. She's quite a capable character just now. Is she handicapped by some terrible doom? We will find out. We get a 7, and a 7 is flawed temperament, quick to anger, prone to panic, or compulsively secret. So maybe what we can do is maybe not just determine that right now, but maybe when we are in a situation, we can just roll randomly and say, oh, does she get angry? Does she panic? Is she secretive? Maybe we should just determine it up front. It's more for me to, I suppose, to remember. I'll tell you what. Let's just do that. Let's see. Let's find out for the video what the flawed temperament is. 6. So compulsively secretive. So secretive. That is a flawed temperament. Okay. When it comes to the next section, I am saying distinctive presence, and I've got the appearance and the motif. So I'm going to roll on my protagonist appearance table and also roll on the symbolic motif table or the symbolic element table. So I'm just going to resurrect them. It looks as though the dog ate my homework here, because I think what happened was my stool that I sit on, I reversed that over this and it's kind of crumpled it all up. So let's find out what the appearance is first, and we roll a 1d10 for that. So I'll get my 1d10 out. Where is it? Here. So let's find out what the general appearance is. On 1, scarred face. Right, it's the old scarred face thing. A single long scar or multiple scars hinting at a past. So I always like the single scar. So we'll go 1 to 4. It's a single scar. Yes, it's the old single scar. So we've got 1 scarred face. Single. So maybe she's got one of these quite attractive scars down her cheek or something. It's nothing unattractive. It's going to be one of these heroic kind of scars that she can show off. And also the symbolic element. What is that going to be? This gives the character a symbolic motif. This is an object, omen, or recurring dream that foreshadows their fate. So again, it's 1d10 for that. So let's find out. And this will be familiar from my first session where I was doing the protagonist. And a 7. A crumbling tower, mortality of empires, decay of ambition. So this must be a dream, or maybe an omen. The crumbling tower. So she is haunted maybe by this crumbling tower motif. The mortality of empires, the decay of ambition. So maybe that's a kind of pretty doom-laden. So I'm maybe going to have to think of a good way of factoring that into her temperament, which is naturally pragmatic and opportunistic. but it has some taints, you know, the fact that she's secretive and she's maybe just kind of thinking, oh, I'll have these terrible dreams about this empire. And maybe the purple town's one day in ruins, and I think it did get destroyed in the ultimate Holocaust. So maybe that is what she's dreaming of. Okay, that is us done for that individual. What we're going to do is recycle through our other two. And I see that's maybe taken us about 20 minutes to do that. So I think we can do this quite quickly. And at the end of that process, what we're going to do is we're just going to wrap it up by saying, well, what are the reasons for these companions to be in Trepazaz? I have a little table for that. And then we're just going to sign off with Elthaniel giving us a nice little... Eltharion giving us a nice little summary up of what the character generation process has been. So let us get back to our checklist again. And the first thing we're going to do with this individual is work out their name. We have a male, so we've got, this is the only male companion we've got. So let us find the table for male names. I'll get my D20. So his name is 3. He is Valric. That's good. That sounds quite young kingdomish. Valric. Valric the Great. What is he? 4. Kael'thorn. That's okay, I suppose. Kael'thorn. And we go to our origins table. And I dig out my origins table. And we get our D8 primed and ready. Are we going to add 8 or just go? We add 8 to that, so that is going to be 9 for the template. And the template we have, oh right, so this is quite interesting, a Picarid tribesman. Now Picarid is a pretty hostile location, right on the southern continent, over towards the eastern side. And it really is completely isolated from the rest of the Young Kingdoms. Quite a xenophobic and hostile people. So you know you've got your classic barbarian type coming out of this. He's maybe going to be a bit of a difficult individual. So we've got Picarid tribesmen. I have sanitized all these, and I thought, yeah, I can use all these. And I feel that they are all legitimate. You know, Picarid people, Pangtangians, you know, they're all well, I was going to say all welcome here, maybe not. Hunter or warrior. So we will determine that that first. So 1 to 3, it's hunter. He is a warrior. So tribesman, and we'll put warrior. His traits and demeanor, he's free-spirited, he's proud, he's suspicious. So free spirit, proud, but suspicious. And the more you find out about Picarid, the more you'll understand where that suspicion comes from. So for narrative comments, he's got exceptional survival traits and skills, loyalty earned through action, not words, always having to curb xenophobia. So he's a bit aggressive to anybody, just about anybody that isn't from Picarid. He's really got a bit. So he can control that because he's gone out adventuring. He said, right, I can hold my nose, for the return of adventure. I'm willing to do that. So I'll just make a note of that afterwards. I'm not going to spend time just writing out stuff in front of you. What about the skills of that individual? Well, first of all, what we're going to do is maybe generate his statistics, Valric. And just on, he turned out to be a warrior. So warriors are going to have +2 strength and +1 constitution. So let us find out his base attributes first. And we're going to add 2 to this. So we have, that's 9, 12, +2 is 14. And what was his other one? constitution. So this, we get to add 1 to this as well. Excellent. So he is going to have constitution of 17. So these companions are really shaping up to be quite capable individuals. Size of 12. And in fact, I know when I was doing my RuneQuest one, that sizes shouldn't really be maybe increased, because we're really just going for a natural distribution. So what I will do is maybe just say it should have been best of 3. 12 is probably average, so I'd probably use 3d6. I just noticed that as maybe just being a bit over the top, using 4d6 for now. So, intelligence, he is a smart, say a smart barbarian. He is. That's very good. Power, well, this guy is maxing out. He is extraordinary, 16. Are we going to have to buff our protagonist even more? Just, you know, he has a power. He's got this amazing aura of charisma. That is obviously being used to its full effect to keep this group together. So he has 9 dexterity. Yeah, he has failed on that score. His charisma is, well, he's good too. He's got a charisma of 15. So that he's quite, this is a very respectable individual. Are we going to basically give him a bit of a hammering with his national traits? Let's find out what Picarid's all about. Picarid is strength plus 2d4, size plus 1. All right, so we would have increased his size anyhow. So the fact I use 4d6, let's just forget that. His strength should go up. Plus 2d4. Yeah, let us find out if the gods say you increase. So 4 to 6, we were going to add on 2d4. So the gods say yes. Do it, Brian. Plus 2d. So I'm going to say we're going to add on 1d4 because he's already had a higher probability. So plus 4, so he is up to strength 18. We have seen it there. The gods have said strength 18 for this character. It must be done. So where are we on our list? We need to do, let's get back to our sheet. We are going to work out how many skills he's got as background skills. He's got 7, so that's good. Okay, well, we're on to some of the more interesting sides of it, which is what is the reason, what is the bond that he has with our protagonist? We were going to roll that on a d8. So just get so many dice in front of me. Let's get the d8 on the go. We get a 7. What was a 7 again? I'm just going over the sheet. Get out my little sheet. 7. Oh, right. Okay. Rescued each other in battle. Your lives are linked in danger. There's respect and unspoken gratitude, though each carries scars and secrets from those moments. So I wonder, maybe they have been involved in naval battles together. And, you know, this Valric, maybe he is a bit of a sellsword, and he said, right, okay, I can get in with the Shazarian Navy. I'll do a bit of a stint as a Marine. And they've been involved in a naval conflict, and they fought in battle together, and they have saved each other's, or their lives have been linked in danger. They have this basically a very deep respect, a deep gratitude. That probably is a very good reason why they are together. So I like that one. That is 7. Rescued each other in battle. And it's a very deep and maybe poignant kind of, you know, a special bond that these individuals have that only brothers in arms have in conflict. You know, maybe that's the way we should envision this. They are brothers in arms, whereas this is maybe more transactional. You know, a shared enemy. This is really quite a deep, you know, a very deep bond that they have together. Good, I like that one. The doom must come. Let's find out what the doom is. We'll get the d8. The d8 of doom. What is Valric's doom in this world? He is a doom of 4. A secret allegiance to law. Ooh. serves justice in ways that clash with the PC's goal. The protagonist character's goal. So this is a bit of a turn up because Pickard are pretty chaotic. Maybe that's one of the reasons he has left, because actually he has got a bit of a secret love, secret allegiance to law. Oh my goodness, I wasn't expecting that. So I'm going to have a bit of a think about that, how to weave it in. But isn't that an interesting little twist for? And if you know, again, if you know anything about Pickard, yeah, that is probably not a character type you would recognise. Let us get on to what he looks like, and we'll get our little dog tone symbolic elements and appearance options. So let us find out with the D10, has he got any distinguishing marks or characteristics? He's got an 8, and an 8 is all right. Okay, I've got the option of pale or weathered skin from sickness, travel, magic, or extreme climate. Add storytelling depth. Yes, it has to be weathered skin. Has to be the weathered skin. So 8, weathered skin. As if he wouldn't have had weathered skin already. It's even more leathery. It's really quite very yeah, travel. Definitely travel. There's none of this sickness stuff. We don't get sick in Pickard. Don't be silly. Extreme climate. He's been through it all. In fact, his skin probably tells a tale itself. What about his symbolic element? We'll do a 1d10 for that too. It is a 7, and a 7 is, oh, he's on the crumbling tower again. Would that, am I going to have that as a shared, maybe as a shared dream? He has with Caleb, the crumbling tower. The crumbling tower. Maybe this is another draw that's brought them together. They go, hey, have you got that dream that I dream about this crumbling tower all the time, the fall of empires, and he said, actually, now that you come to mention it, it's that type of thing. So yeah. I think I just have to go with the flow on that one, and maybe just have a bit of a think about it. But certainly the die rolls have been generating quite a bit of interest so far. So we're back to our last companion, and you will sigh of relief, think, oh, thank goodness, Brian, you're not going to put us through this cycle anymore. So we're going to have to work out our name first. So our name, we're going to get the D20 of name and shame. Our female is called 3, and Thalira, and the surname 15, Lutharis. Well, that sounds quite civilized, doesn't it? Lutharis. Female. Let us find out the origin. So I will get my overall table together with my templates. Table together with templates, and we'll get the D8 of destiny and the D6 of what's that type of D8. So we're going to have a 1 to 8 on this. We have a 6. And a 6 is, all right, okay, another barbarian. Barbarian of the Weeping Waste, hunter warrior, fierce, superstitious, loyal to tribe, family first, brute strength and endurance, little subtlety. Okay, so she's going to be well matched with Valric. It looks as though the two more civilized elements are going to be as jaunty sailors, Caleb, and our protagonist. So let us put this down. We have got a barbarian of the Weeping Waste. The Weep Waste. And this is going to be, this is a combination character, a hunter, warrior. They have a specialist one, which when I come to do the sheet, fill it out, and for the next episode, I'll just show you, give you a bit of a background on what these characters actually look like when they're fleshed out, and some of what these special subclasses are like. So, we've got a sailor, we've got a tribesman, a warrior, and we've got another hunter warrior. So we're quite heavy on probably the brute strength side, which maybe is going to be useful in some of the adventures that I think I've got lined up. On the traits and demeanor, I've got fierce and superstitious. And I'm not going to write down all this stuff about loyalty to tribe and family first, brute strength and endurance, little subtlety. I will just make a wee note of that. Let us work out the characteristics of Thalira. That's a bit of a tongue twister, Thalira. We will do the, again with the size, I've got a bit of a rethink about the size. We'll do the strength. Strength is great. That is 15. So when it comes to attributes for these companions, I cannot complain. And in fact, if anything, I've been trying to turn them down a bit. Maybe I could do with a bit of a buff here. That's 10. But they really have been excellent. Oh, I've done it again. I've done it. Let us say we've got 2 5s, 6, and a 2. Should we just roll the 3 dice? Let's just roll them again. Instead of me trying to come up with a formula. It should have only been a 9 for size. Now they're probably not that tall. They're probably based on Mongols. The Weeping Waste. Intelligence, not great. That is. Oh, we have to roll. No, that still doesn't do anything. So that's what 7 intelligence. That's going to hinder her a bit. Power is that's 5, 9, 13 for power. And finally we've got, oh, we're pretty good on Dex, and that's 14. And charisma, our final roll. Yeah, she's very charismatic. So that is 16 for charisma. So we've got 2 very charismatic maybe the charisma is a bit damped down by the fact they're in these civilized countries, and they really maybe scorn the barbarians a bit, particularly from Picarid. You know, he's got a big handicap to get over. You know, not only his own personal xenophobia, but probably the xenophobia of other people, and saying, oh my goodness, Picarid, that type of style. Let's do the skills and work out what skills are. 2 plus 2 is 4. There will be quite a host of additional skills for this individual, the fact that she is a hunter-warrior combo, so she's going to have quite a good range. What is her bond with our protagonist? Let us find out. I'll get to the relevant sheet. So I have the Shadow of Doom. What is the bond? The bond with the protagonist, we get the D8 of bond. She has a 6. All right, so this is quite interesting. I've got servant, slave, or follower. They may be obedient, wary, or resentful. Your actions and decisions constantly affect their morale and faith in you. So this is really quite a bond of subservience, like a master-servant relation. So I'm not going to say that she's a slave, because we're not really going to have slaves, maybe. Unless he'd been, say, a Melnibonean, and then I could have said, right, you are my slave. Or if I was a Pantangian as a protagonist, you know, God forbid, you know, that might have been a slave. So it's probably going to be a servant or a follower. Let's say a 1 to 3 is a servant, because it's a different kind of relationship. On Oz as an outlier, it could be but I don't think the Shazarians would have slaves. They probably have served. So 1 to 3 a servant, 4 to 6 a follower. So it is a servant. So that is 6 servant. Okay, well, that's interesting, because she'll have a much more of an obedient type, maybe even resentful, potentially. Let's find out a bit more about the individual. And just as a quick thing, you know, some of the other things that we could have had could have been saved by the protagonist, an old comrade or drinking companion, owes money or a life debt, bound together by prophecy or omen, fate has intertwined their past. We have the shared enemy that we already have. We have the servant, slave, or follower. had a nice kind of bromance with the rescued each other in battle, brothers in arms type thing. Reluctant ally mistrust simmers. So this is a bit of a kind of almost a spoiler in my list, that there could be something festering with that individual. That luckily is not transpired in our group. Okay, let's do the Shadow of Doom. We must meet our doom. What is it going to be? I think I've met my doom because I can't find my... Oh, here's my sheet, yes. So we're going to get the D8 of Doom. What does the D8 of Doom say? 8. Addiction or weakness. Oh dear. So this is... I'm getting taken back to my Traveller campaign where Zarya, one of our first characters, and she had a bit of a drugs addiction. I think in fact they're all pretty heavy drinkers too, so maybe just in the Traveller universe there's quite an, that has not been solved in the future. Alcoholism and drug abuse is still rife. Gambling, drink, obsession with treasure, or forbidden knowledge, addiction. What is it going to be? I think we just need to do the D. It's actually a D. Let's do a D10 and divide by 2. That's how that works, that list, I think. 5, so that classifies as 3. So 1, 2, obsession with treasure. Oh no, that should have been 4. Oh, let's roll that again. Sorry, I thought it was obsession. So 1 to 4 is our. So we have a 3. So it is obsession with treasure. It's going to be that anyhow. So she's maybe sharing her master's greed, obsession with treasure, but to the point where she is obsessive. That's an addiction, a weakness, obsession with treasure. Right. So she's very keen what our master is doing. He is quite avaricious, and greed is quite a motivation. So maybe she is just addicted to the whole idea of accumulation of wealth. A bit of a kind of dragon, some on the horde type idea. Maybe that is something that is going to be coming in, maybe in her motif, her symbolic. We might have this dream of a dragon hoarding its gold. What is her distinctive appearance? Let us find out. We've got our crumpled up page for that. We get the D10 of appearance. We get a 9. So 9 is, unfortunately, is on one of my sheets that I can't see to hand. There we go. 9. Distinctive voice, accent, memorable tone, harsh, lilting, or otherworldly. Okay. She's from the Weeping Waste. Distinctive voice. All right. Let's just note that down. Distinctive voice. And her charisma is quite high. So I would say maybe it has quite it's quite memorable in its tone. It's probably not harsh. Maybe it's got this otherworldly. It's probably, she sounds so distant, the Weeping Waste. It sounds really quite mysterious. It sounds very distant. And she has a way of talking. It's almost like the mist coming out of these wastes. And it almost entrances people. And she could be employed by our protagonist in certain ways to maybe almost like as a kind of counterpoint to his negotiations, and she comes out with all this kind of very lilting, mystical. Maybe she's a singer. Could be that she sings these little things. I may be rambling a wee bit on that. Let us find out what the symbolic element is, and we are probably just about there. So I will get my crumpled up page and find out what the 1d10 of the symbolic elements is. We have a 10, the shattered mirror, fragmented identity, destiny in pieces. Oh my goodness. Oh, that sounds really quite tragic. the shattered mirror. So she has another dream that she's got, the shattered mirror. A lot of people have dreams in the Young Kingdoms. It can be an actual, it's like an omen maybe, or an object. Maybe there is a shattered mirror that's in her past, and she has maybe just identified this. It's our fragmented identity. I think we've probably got to read a lot more of these into as almost like some of the omens and the dreams that these characters have, because the young kingdoms themselves, if you think about them, they're almost under the attack of the vying forces of law and chaos, and the way they manifest themselves in the world is through almost like the dream world and into people's minds, and dreams have been a very good vehicle for them. So a lot of these characters are just exhibiting almost a symptom, or a malaise of the time. And these dreams, although they have significance, they are probably more common than you think. That is the Shattered Mirror. That does sound quite tragic. I feel quite sad in the fact that she is a servant too. Maybe it's much less a master and servant, and it's much more a relationship of equals. Let us find out as we start to adventure. But at least we have quite an interesting start to that. Okay, well, thank you very much for indulging me in all that process. Our final thing that we're going to do, now that we have, we basically have, let's just assemble and rally the sheets. Rather the character sheets. We have our protagonist, Altharan the Sylvan, our sailor from Shadar. We have these things about him being his archetype, being the ambitious outsider, money motivation, he's greedy, he's proud. He wants to find meaning in a doomed world. He has a forbidden love from social reasons. He keeps on dreaming about this spiral pattern. And he wears mystical jewelry, trinkets. We haven't really determined what that is. He has an ally of a seasoned mercenary yet to be introduced, and an enemy is a betrayer once trusted. So that is someone in their past that he trusted and has now betrayed them. Maybe that's linked to this thing with Caliph, and they have a common enemy there. That would probably sound the case. Okay, so that is Altharan, and then we have our three companions, and we have basic statistics of them, and these overall aspects. And I've fleshed them out before your very eyes, and hopefully you've seen them grow, and I can maybe just give some mini resumes of them at the start of the next episode, where I can just tie up, have all these things completed. You can see in resplendent detail what each of these individuals look like. I'm really quite impressed and pleased with the characters that we have generated. It's maybe more towards the barbaric side, and maybe less of the intellectual. We did have a few options that could have been a bit more highbrow, but yeah, well, let's see how we get on. We don't know what the attrition rate is going to be like for some of these characters. We might actually need to have recourse to this rather stiff Vilmurian noble who's rigid, pious, and self-righteous. My goodness, that sounds a bit of a pain. The tragic Melnibonian outcast, arrogant, proud, self-confident, scorned by kin, carries the taint of decadence. Well, that really is like your Elric stereotype. Tarkesh raiders, Ilmorian traders. I haven't really gone for like the lower character types, like craftsman and whatever, because I'm not really too interested in them. Maybe as being our starting things. If I was doing it straight off the bat again, I might consider that. But I've really tried to go for more of the heroic types. Okay. Yeah, we didn't really get into maybe these are more sophisticated, like a Falkarian duelist. He's cultured, he's trained in dueling, and he thrives in that. And one of the ones I did like was the Jarkorian gentleman, charismatic, witty, and bold, self-important, and exaggerates. So he's well dressed and stylish, with confident manner, and often displays an effortless talent which they're only too happy to regale. Now, he would have been quite a laugh. We might get him coming in as an NPC or something. Yeah. Okay, so that is enough of that. Let us find out what our characters and our protagonists, how they met. So finally, we can determine why the character and companions are here, and what have they been in the process of doing in order to make the setting feel alive and relevant. And we're just going to put this down to a simple D8 and find out why are they in Trepizaz. I am about to tell you why. We'll get our D8 out. We get a 4. So, following our prophecy, an omen or vision led them here. Now, they've got plenty of visions. Fate seems to be guiding their journey, though motives may be obscure. Okay, so that is the thread for me to develop and flesh out. And when we come to our next adventure, not only am I going to do a resume of the companions and our protagonist, I'm also going to maybe flesh out what this prophecy maybe means, and kick our adventurers off. And then we'll be involved in quite an interactive type of adventure. As I said, it's going to be quite high tempo. I want a lot of travel involved. I want dashing and daring and bravado and swashbuckling type adventuring. These are a couple of sailors in our group. We're going to have a few shanties going on. We're going to have all that kind of, let's get on our ship, me mateys. And then, with the barbarian dimension, we've got maybe the Conan feel, a bit of a grunting kind of, stubborn type, heroic, very, as I say, very stoic type of view to the world. Kind of survivalist attitude and outlook. They're all about freedom and maintaining their barbaric ideals and whatever. And I think quite an interesting mishmash. And then coming up against a culture which is basically decadent, and this is effectively the human version of Melniboné's decadence, Lormir. It is a society in decline, and I think that's going to be quite an enchanting background for them to start in. As I said in our previous episode, I think I used that as my first jumping off point in my original campaign back in 1981, where we went off to explore Oin and Yu and up the river and do all that kind of stuff. But we're going to take a different trajectory this time around. Let us see where that takes us. So, that being said, hopefully I have piqued your interest and you want to come back and find out where these individuals are going to take us. We're going to have some final words from Eltharion. He says, "Our companions have played their parts today. Courage, cunning, and the weights of past deeds have shaped the path before them. In the young kingdoms, loyalty is fragile, and shadows linger ever near." So very, very sage words, Eltharion. As always, you add more than you take. You really deliver on the prophecy aspect, on the sage advice that you give. Okay, I don't think I have anything more to do. As I said, I will recap everything the next adventure, and then we get cracking in the Young Kingdoms. The Young Kingdoms awaits. So thank you very much for watching this one. Hope to see you soon.